Good morning. Um, Thanksgiving Day here in the United States, so I wanted to wish everybody who celebrates Thanksgiving a happy holiday and hope you have a great day. Thanksgiving is probably my favorite holiday that we have. Um, it's one of those few holidays where um, we're we're thankful for what we have and not for what we're getting, if that makes any sense. And like the whole focus of the holiday basically is around a dinner with your family, which I really, as I've gotten older, that's something I appreciate a lot more than I did when I was a kid. And when I was probably my early 20s, I would say is when I first really started to appreciate Thanksgiving for what it meant, and probably was a sign of maturity. Um, Growing up, hopefully, you start to you know, getting away from the material, if that makes any sense, and you start to recognize the things in your life that matter the most. Um, and it's especially true as I got married and had my own family, and it's just it's a great time. It's just a great little, you know, one of the few holidays that where memories are built to me, more so than even Christmas or Independence Day or anything like that. It's always seems to be Thanksgiving is when I look back at some of my best holiday memories. What I wanted to do today, well, first thing was in the last video I did, I was um, messing with this shoulder plane here and this block plane that I made from a kit years back, and I was having some issues with the block plane. Um, what I did, what I did was I sawed off part of the wedge and I sharpened the iron. I reground the iron actually, not just sharpened it. I reground it with a power grinder, which I really don't do very often. But it seemed to me that it was rounding a little bit. The bevel was a little bit rounded, and I can't say exactly what it is. I'm generally pretty good with putting an edge on tools, but um, it is tiny and it's difficult to sharpen. But now here you can see it's functioning much better. So it really just needed some maintenance. That is what happens when you have wood body tools in unclimate controlled conditions. Which leads me to my next thing here. What I wanted to do was demonstrate this spill plane that I purchased years ago. I was at a woodworking show and the plane maker had these, and I didn't buy it at the time, but I ended up ordering it and buying it later through the mail. And it was pretty neat. It makes spills, which for those of you who might not be aware, are these right here. Back in the days before you had matches, you would use a spill to take from your fireplace, your hearth, and light your candles, and from there, instead of sticking your hand in the fire. But so I sharpened up the iron. It's razor sharp, but I'm having some issues with the wedge. The wedge now, of course, the wedge is not holding the iron in place. I trimmed off. You can see there, I trimmed off right here, right there, and right here with a chisel because it was protruding past the sole of the plane. And I also sanded it down a little bit to get some of the finish off of it. but it's still really not locking the iron in place like it should. Now there's the iron. I don't know if you could tell, but this is absolutely razor sharp. Here's, see my hairy hands here. I mean, that is shaving that smooth. So it is not the iron. It is the wedge of the plane, I believe, that is not functioning right. And once again, that is one of the dangers of these wood-bodied planes in unclimate-controlled areas. I understand that for many years, people used wood-body planes and they didn't have any climate control at all. Perhaps heat in the winter, but in the summer, it was unlikely to have any form of air conditioning, obviously. But for our purposes, I've quite a few wood-bodied planes. Most of them function pretty well. This one is not functioning well right now, and I just don't really feel like getting into diagnosing it and correcting it, because I really shouldn't have to be honest. It's not like I found that plane at the bottom of a boat. For instance, here's a wood joiner, a little dusty, that somebody actually gave to me. It was in what I would call decent shape when I got it. I did have to flatten the sole, obviously, most of the time you do. But let's see, now I'm not even, this isn't set or anything. So let's see what I can do with this. Let's use this hammer. Now I literally haven't sharpened this iron in 2 years. This is taking very fine shavings for a joiner plane. And especially one that's probably 150 years old. I could probably get to take some really heavy shavings. I mean, these aren't too heavy. These are that's probably the type of shaving you would want your joiner to take. Probably just a couple thousandths of an inch thick. It is not translucent, close to being translucent. And of course you could set it really heavy if you like. And if you want to remove a lot of material. And even this is not ultra thick, but you get the point. And the point being, this tool is quite old. I don't know how old it is. It's made by Howland and Sons. There's no trademark date on it that I can see. But the point being, this tool, as old as it is, the wedge needed very little work. When I don't want to take it out, but let's see here. It's not as if this wedge is it's brand new or anything like that, not in the least. But the point being, it's a very well made tool. And that's what I was messing with this here, and it's sort of started to piss me off, to be honest, that it's not working correctly, and it's not anything that I did wrong. There is an issue with this wedge that I can tell. It's basically, from what I can see here, if you can see in there, the round, that might be the best view there, the round for the escapement, the part that makes the curl needs to be higher up on the wedge, probably by about, I would say, a quarter of an inch. So would that be like 6 millimeters? Is that, if I'm not mistaken? Regardless, this is too, that is too low, or depending on your point of view, too high. And it is keeping the, not only is it keeping the spills from forming correctly, it's, as I push it down to tighten the wedge, it's not letting spills form at all. Is what's happening. Now, I'll give this one more try. I'm not gonna, you can see here I was messing with it. I tried to film a video before and it just was not working. I managed to get about 2 spills that were actual spills. Here we're getting nothing. Tighten that a little bit. We'll tighten the wedge up again. Nothing. Now, just to be fair, spills are formed much easier on a board that isn't probably as dry as this board is right here. I don't know how old this board is, but it's probably been in my garage for quite a few years. There's a spill there. Not a great one, but it's a spill. It would do the job. You can see here, as soon as you get any traction, the wedge starts loosening up. Is what the deal is. I see right there. That's a great example. I got through 2 spills, and the wedge loosened. So I think what I might need to do is, that's too fine. Yeah, that's too heavy. So it's very, very touchy, which it really shouldn't be for it to work properly. And there, as I predicted would happen, I don't know if you can get in there. Sorry, my lighting is horrible. But as I predicted would happen, as the escapement hole closed, because the rounded portion of the wedge is protruding too far down, it won't let spills form, which can be. Now, once again, now am I selling spills on the street corner? No. But the tool should work. I don't believe in. There's a line of thought that with woodwork, especially with woodworking tools, it really bugs me. There's a line of thought that, well, you did it, you should have to work on it. No effing way. You buy a tool, should work. Bottom line, if I'm buying a used tool, of course I'm going to need to work on it. Is there any other product on the planet that you can think of when you're purchasing it brand new, and you get home and you're not expected to have this product work properly? No, that's that is in the vernacular of my hometown bull effing shit. There's no way in the world you should purchase something and it doesn't work. And the thought process of, oh, you have to do the home and work on it. F you, no way. You bought a TV. Would you expect your TV? You have to solder the connections in and mess with the display. No. If you bought a car, would you expect to have to tune the engine up and add oil? No. If you bought your cell phone, would you expect to have to install the screen and reprogram your phone for it to work? No. So the thought process, and this is what woodworking writers for years, and everybody else for that matter, have allowed these manufacturers to get away with. And some of them are just cheap junk, but this whole defending makers. Well, yeah, you need to work on it. You need to file to handle it. You need to, no, don't buy that for a moment. It's just it's so insulting to tell somebody you bought you didn't you didn't set it up right. No. Said I shouldn't have to set it up at all. Should put the tool to the wood and it works. But I don't want to get all upset here on Thanksgiving Day. It is to get back to that, it's a great holiday, and I let a tool upset me, which I shouldn't have done. So I'll work on this when I get a chance, but it really pisses me off that I have to work on it at all, because it was a new tool. It wasn't. I didn't find it in somebody's in the bottom of the ocean in a shipwreck. But everybody out there, I wanted to wish you all a happy Thanksgiving if you celebrate the holiday, even if you don't. And I hope you have a great day with your families, and I hope you have a great dinner. And hopefully I'll be back maybe next week with a couple things I wanted to do to show you guys. And I think will be interesting. One of them is the router plane kit here. I've worked on it. I've sort of cleaned it up somewhat. And when the last video, I think it was still really rough because I was experimenting with the cutout and the iron, but I have it working pretty well. Once again, not as well as my Lie-Nielsen router plane, but it's working well enough to where I could use it in a project. Otherwise, we'll get to that topic in another time. But once again, thanks for watching. Have a great holiday, and I wish you all the best. Thanks.